Let's now shift our focus to what's happening down south, specifically with the state of Tamil Nadu. You do have a cyclone that is now closing on to the eastern coast of the country. Several places in Tamil Nadu, this includes Chennai, have been hit by incessant rainfall. Heavy rainfall resulted in waterlogging near several metro stations across Chennai. The government has asked private companies and offices to instruct their employees to work from home or operate only with essential staff in unavoidable cases in view of the impending cyclone. Remember, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has also reviewed the preparations. You now have the NDRF that has already made 18 teams available to Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha and even Puducherry. You also have additional 10 teams that have now been kept on standby. Other than that, you have rescue and relief teams of the Coast Guard, the Army and the Navy along with ships and aircraft that have also been kept ready on standby. So let's just give you an overview of what really has happened just in the last 24 hours and more importantly, what is the kind of prediction that is coming in by the IMD for days to follow. So look at the visuals behind. This is the kind of damage that we're already seeing. This is the kind of waterlogging that we're already seeing where you have parked cars that have completely been swept away because of the incessant rain that still continues. And this is a visual that we've seen across the city in multiple areas in Chennai. If you look at areas like Tambaram or even the ECR road, those are some of the areas that have actually been the worst hit, where you've seen a lot of buildings being impacted or a lot of residents in fact being evacuated from those areas as well. Let's move on to the next set of visuals. You have heavy burst of rain that has turned streets literally into rivers, and look at the kind of conditions. You have buses that are physically or manually in fact being pushed, people in knee-deep water, people have had to leave their vehicles and then move elsewhere. As we pointed out, this is visuals coming in from Mylapore. So currently there is no area across Chennai that has been left or spared as far as the impact of the rainfall or even the cyclone is concerned. Let's move on to the other set of visuals. Now this is something that unfortunately becomes a common sight every time we report stories of cyclone or flooding, which is the impact on the animals around it. This time around, a visual that has scared many who were living in and around these areas. A crocodile was spotted crossing the road. Essentially happens when overflowing of water happens, you do see animals that move to the roads and other areas. Thankfully, no casualties have been reported and no other sighting of any other animal also so far has been reported. But this is the unfortunate reality every time you report on a cyclone or a flood-like situation, which is what happens to emergency situations, what happens to people who have to get to hospitals. Look at an ambulance that wades through waterlogged streets, and this is what the state administration has gone on to tell people, that stay indoors as much as you can, step out only if it's an unavoidable situation. They're trying to keep all the emergency services on in terms of hospitals on standby, ambulances, etc. But just because of the impact of the rainfall, waterlogging, the trees that have fallen across the streets, movement has been impacted. Let's take a look at some other visuals coming in, and this is coming in from Alandur subway, where vehicles are completely stuck in a waterlogged subway. Now there are multiple teams that are working round the clock, as we pointed out, just about 18 teams of the NDRF, 10 teams on standby. You have the Army, the Navy, the Coast Guard, all trying to work together to ensure that there is minimum damage. Unfortunately, till now, no casualty has been reported. Let's take a look at some ground reports that have been filed by our colleague Purnama Murli.
Since last night, rains and gale force winds have been pounding Chennai non-stop almost. The city was bracing for a storm. Intensity has taken everybody by surprise. The biggest problem that the city faces right now is the fact that trees have fallen right on the street. As you can see behind me, there are these trees which have fallen and they have blocked the road, and along with them they have brought down lines also. This of course is a cable television line, but there are power lines also which are down across the city, and that's exactly why the city authorities have ensured that the power has been disconnected, because usually electrocution is the biggest cause of casualty. The other thing that the state has done quite well admirably is the fact that they have ensured that most of the drains have been cleared well in advance. And to be fair, the waters are not stagnant too much in multiple places given the intensity. Yes, there is water stagnation. Yes, there is a problem of water seeping into households. But if you look at the intensity of the rain, it is not as much. And it's just a matter matter of hours that people of Chennai have to heed to what the NDRF says, what the state authorities tell us. Stay indoors, be hydrated, have clean drinking water with you, stay indoors. Even if the power goes off, do not panic.
Let's in fact now bring in our colleague Purnima Murli, who is joining us live on the broadcast. Purnima, help us first understand from which area are you coming to us live from. More importantly, what is the ground situation? When we spoke last, about a couple of hours ago, you had said there had been some respite because the rain had stopped. Is that still the condition?
Well, we are coming to you from Virugambakam. This is again one of the low-lying areas, and every time it rains, this entire stretch is inundated. It's no different this time, but the only issue is that this entire stretch continues to remain waterlogged. Vehicles will not be able to commute through this place. On the other side, if you can see, there are trees that are yet to be cleared because of the strong winds and heavy rains. This entire road is inundated. People will not be able to commute. All the shops that are located in this particular stretch, they are shut. Remember, Tamil Nadu government has declared a public holiday tomorrow as well. Schools, colleges, educational institutions, all of them will remain shut tomorrow. As per the Met predictions, the city, Kanchipuram district, Chengalpattu district and Tiruvallur district will witness heavy to very heavy rainfall, and this entire stretch continues to remain inundated, and the roads are barricaded so that two-wheelers, cars, autos will not be able to pass through this area. The entire area continues to remain inundated. This among other locations including KK Nagar, Ashok Nagar, T Nagar, West Mamlam, all those are in the low-lying areas, and therefore whenever it rains, it is difficult for residents here. Most of them continue to remain indoors. Some of the cars, in fact, have been shifted to other localities only to ensure that if the rains continue for the next 24 hours, then their cars will get damaged, which is why you can see a lot of residents here staying indoors because they feel that it is necessary to stay safe. But this entire stretch remains inundated. Remember, the strong winds range between 35 and 85 km/h, and you can see the umbrellas also not remaining intact. In fact, this has been the scene since 7 a.m. today. Strong winds, which is why many trees have fallen, but the corporation officials will take at least 2 more days to clear the area, to clear the water, to clear the trees that have fallen, only because the rains continue. There was some respite for a brief period, but once again it has started to rain, which is why you can see most of them staying indoors, and all the shops situated in all these low-lying areas continue to remain shut and will be shut if the rains continue to lash the city. Back to you.
Purnima, the other aspect that we also want to understand is how are the citizens in Chennai, in and around Chennai, really managing? The concern that most have voiced over the last night has been that there has been no power supply. When we were speaking to our colleague Vivek also earlier in the day, we did see some transformers going off. So the fear of electrocution, safety concerns, those are also a big concern for authorities on the ground. What is the status as far as power supply is concerned?
Well, because most of the streets, most of the main roads are inundated, they've decided to cut off power to ensure that no untoward incident takes place, because every time an area is waterlogged, there are electric wires everywhere, which is why the power supply has been cut off for most part of the city to ensure that no untoward incident takes place, because every area in Chennai is inundated. The city has come to a standstill, and power supply will only make it difficult for commuters, which is why the officials have already in advance yesterday said that people should have backup power to ensure that they remain safe and they don't step out unnecessarily. Yesterday there were many messages given by the state government saying that the power will not be there tomorrow if the city witnesses heavy to very heavy rains, and they've asked people to ensure that they have charged their batteries and everything in advance so that people don't have to suffer. This was the advisory that was given by the Tamil Nadu government.